From back-to-back hurricanes to unprecedented wildfires, an unfortunate spate of natural disasters around the world could be a cry for Mother Nature, and that cry has been heard here in West Virginia as well.
I've never seen anything like this before. Oh my God!
Historic flooding in June of 2016 took 23 lives, destroyed entire towns, and left a devastating impact on the environment. But there are certain conservation guidelines in place just for these types of situations. For example, stream gauges are used to warn residents of a possible impending flood. Even a simple dam is a conservation tool, but it's important to make sure they're structurally sufficient. A less well-known conservation tool, eco-friendly boat ramps. Your typical concrete or asphalt boat ramp can actually harm the environment. They allow fast runoff after it's rained, meaning the water levels rise quickly, and that's caused some damage in rivers and lakes. But these new boat ramps, made of mats that fold up, are helping to restore the natural habitat of West Virginia's waterways.
Permeable pavers, a fairly new idea. The idea came from water managers recognizing that their streams were behaving differently when they were getting rainfall events, like issues with flooding, issues with disturbance of aquatic habitats.
The mats also hold water for longer periods of time than a concrete ramp, releasing it slowly and preventing flooding. And while the use of stream gauges and other flood prevention techniques were largely overlooked previously, state leaders can no longer ignore their vital role in conservation and public safety. While all of West Virginia's powerful waterways should be feared to a degree, they're also meant to be enjoyed. For those looking for a lazy float or anglers looking to reel in a feisty bass, the Little Coal River is the perfect place. But in a rugged state like ours, streams like this are prone to runoff and sediment that could come from building new roads or mining coal.
That sediment can fill in the spaces between rocks, which bugs like to occupy, which fish like to feed on.
And that can lead to a less variety of fish. But efforts from different groups are making sure new types of fish are coming to the river by placing improvement structures near it to block the flow of sediments. Work is also being done to conserve not only the streams themselves, but the creatures that live in them. Like hellbenders, the largest aquatic salamander in the U.S., but their numbers have been declining. And professors at West Liberty University are making sure these guys have a fighting chance.
We began to harvest eggs from nests of hellbenders to try to raise them as a conservation project, putting more animals back in at a larger size where they're going to be less prone to predation.
Their goal is to put out 30 or 40 hellbenders a year to bring their population back up. From water to land, conservation efforts by individuals and groups all across the state are trying to correct a huge environmental challenge: coal mine reclamation. This abandoned surface mine near Hernshaw in Kanawha County is now a site for harvesting lavender plants. It's a long process. Lavender plants take about 3 years to develop. Then they're made into oils and other health and beauty products. But for a state looking for an environmental and economic boost, it's worth the wait. Every 100 acres of lavender plants is said to bring in about $1 million. From this lavender farm to thousands of other types of farms across the Mountain State, there are conservation guidelines in place to make sure those farms are sustainable and environmentally friendly. Some of those guidelines are BMPs, or best management practices. Some examples: cover crops, used to prevent soil erosion, stop weed growth, and minimize soil compaction, among many other things. Alternate watering systems, used to keep animals or livestock out of water streams by using buckets, tanks, troughs, and other water delivering systems. Contour strip farming, putting in a row of crops, then a row of grass, so when it rains and the water runs across it, it slows down the water flow and doesn't take as much soil with it. If you've got a confined animal feeding operation, put in a grassy area to keep manure from flowing into streams. There are many more BMP techniques, and when they aren't used, they can lead to some pretty stinky situations, literally. Like in St. Albans in Kanawha County, where the owner of a horse riding stable got into some trouble with her neighbors after allowing a pile of horse manure to smolder for months.
When the wind is blowing the right direction, I can lay in bed at night and smell the smell of burning horse manure.
It came through the vents on our heating system and in my dryer when I pulled the door open. It was pure hell for somebody to have to live in a situation like this.
The stable owner had been dumping manure in the same spots across her property for years. And because she didn't turn the manure, the chemicals built up and then eventually spontaneously combusted, catching fire and leading emergency personnel to have to deal with it. The manure pile also sat next to the river, and much of the manure made its way into the water. The West Virginia DEP issued 2 warning violations to the farm owner, from the Environmental Enforcement section of the Division of Water and Waste Management and the other from the Division of Air Quality. So many little and big things we could all be doing. Conservation practices and the West Virginia Conservation Agency are vital to farms, to communities, and to the world, so we can stop scenes like this.
I've never seen anything like this before.
And keep scenes like this.